Sometimes we are afraid to try something because of what happened in the past. And you might have good reason to be weary or a bit anxious. That's an important voice to acknowledge. It's protecting you. And history only repeats itself if you repeat it, if you haven't learned. So take a moment and self-reflect. Here's what happened. Here's why I think it happened. Here's how I reacted to it. Here's what I did. Here's what I think I could have done better. This time, I'm going to do it differently and see what happens. Easier said than done. I know. Hi, my name is Aubrey Lynch, and welcome to my channel. I want us to be better at loving ourselves. I want to talk about something that I first heard at Coaches Training Institute, CTI. I love that program. I was certified as a life coach and took their leadership training, and it was really, really amazing. I'm still here, almost 15 years later, resonating on those lessons. And one of them was, we are not our wake. Very simple statement. We are not our wake. In other words, if you can imagine yourself as a beautiful ship, a gorgeous big vessel, right? Plowing through the ocean on a sunlit night. You've got all this wake behind you, the sea ruffling and bubbling and disturbed by your passing. That's not us. That's our past. We are the gorgeous ship plowing through a new ocean. And it's easy to forget that. So when I heard that, I thought, you know what? I love that image of a ship plowing through the ocean, leaving all of that mess behind. We are not whatever our grades were in high school. We are not whatever those failed exams were when you were in college. We are not all the things that went wrong. We're not those things. Those things happened. They're circumstances. They are situations that we navigated as best we could. And hopefully we learn from them. Even if it happens over and over again. You want to try to get better every time, but give yourself a break. What happened back then doesn't have to happen again. And if it does, you've proven you can get through it. We are not the drama we have been a part of. Even if we were the problem. There are times when we are the drama. Sign me up. I've been there, and I apologize. I'm embarrassed by those moments where I lost myself and entered the world of shenanigans. People are losing my mind. It happens. I'm not that now. That was then. I have learned. I have self-reflected. I have been very conscious about how I move forward. And I said, okay, that was pretty rough, and I'm not going to do that again. And if I find myself in that situation, I'm going to handle it differently. That's a way to look at things. Sometimes we are afraid to try something because of what happened in the past. And you might have good reason to be weary or a bit anxious. That's an important voice to acknowledge. It's protecting you. And history only repeats itself if you repeat it, if you haven't learned. So take a moment and self-reflect. Here's what happened. Here's why I think it happened. Here's how I reacted to it. Here's what I did. Here's what I think I could have done better. This time, I'm going to do it differently and see what happens. And it might happen again. And hopefully it's not horrible. And if it does, you're going to survive. You're going to survive. It doesn't feel like you are, but you will. So it's important to remember not to make decisions about the future based on what you think might happen in the past. Now that's I'm going to contradict myself, because of course you've got to consider your life. You tried this was the result. Was the result you wanted? Try to move forward into a new space. That's healthy thinking, and that's okay. But when you become petrified to try a thing because of what happened before might happen again, that's what I mean. You're not your wake. That's before. You're different now. It's another day. You're going to try something different. Easier said than done. I know. But that's growth. You have to believe in yourself. Trust your talent. Trust your cleverness. Train. Take a course. Fortify yourself. Do some reading. Speak to a friend. Speak to a professional. Find a mentor. Do what you've got to do to be ready for whatever that thing is going to be. And know that what happened before is not going to happen again. And if it does, you're going to handle it differently. I'm here to tell you something. Even though I'm saying this, I'm also considering that in my life, my incredible life, I have had things happen again and again and again. And I asked myself, why is this happening again? I can remember when I was in the ensemble of The Lion King, original cast, right? And I was just a dancer in the ensemble, and I was promoted to the dance captain. And so I was with my peers. I was in a sense, over my peers. Then I became the associate choreographer and the associate producer, and I became the caretaker of the creative parts of The Lion King, an honor that I will never, ever forget, and I don't take that for granted. And it made some people uncomfortable. Whenever your peers become people that report to you, it's tricky. And I made mistakes, and I said things that weren't necessarily the most effective. They weren't the most artful, and I learned by trial by fire what not to do if you're promoted over your peers. And then you fast forward. I was at another job. Happened again. I was promoted, and my peers reported to me, and it was not a comfortable situation. And I said things that were inartful, not very helpful, and I stumbled and struggled, and eventually I got through it. And then you guessed it, it happened a third time. Another job, another position, I was promoted, and some people were not comfortable. And I was uncomfortable. And it was horrible. 3 times in a row. Big times. And thankfully, the third time it happened, I had a therapist. I had an executive coach. I have doctors. I have medication. I'll be real. Yeah. That's why I got through it. And I was able to play the movie back. Here's what happened in The Lion King. That was 25 years ago. Here's what happened in this job. That was 10 years ago. Here's what happened 2 years ago. I can do this differently. And I changed. I don't think I did anything wrong. I was just surviving a really awkward situation. The point of all of that is that I didn't let those past experiences, which were horrible, they were absolutely death-defyingly Armageddon kind of end of the world for me at the time, horrible. And I still imagined myself as the bow of that ship going forward. I'm going to plow this uncharted sea, and I'll try something different. And I will learn I am not the wake of that mess behind me. And I want to believe every time I got a little bit better, I am a bit annoyed with myself for not being able to finesse those situations better than I did. I want to believe I did the best I could. When I play back the movies, it wasn't so bad. You know, if I'm really honest and kind to myself, I did what I thought was the right thing to do. And I learned each time. And so when it happened again, it's okay. This looks familiar. And although it is like friggin' Groundhog Day, the exact thing is happening again, I am not that mess. I didn't make this mess. I'm not that mess. I'm the bow of this ship plowing uncharted seas, and I'm going to keep a beginner's mind and get through this. I did not let the past affect the power of that ship plowing through the ocean. I didn't. I call that stepping forward despite your fear. I was afraid and anxious and all of those things, all those negative voices screaming at me all day long, and I managed to get through it. But I say this because what I'm suggesting is not easy. This is not something you can just turn on and turn off. That wake sometimes feels like it's the bow of the ship. Your past is right there in front of you happening again. But it's not. That's your brain trying to protect yourself. Have compassion for yourself. Learn from those times. Don't dread them being repeated. Things are going to happen again. And it may feel like Groundhog Day. It may feel like, why is this happening to me? Don't play the victim. Play the powerful superhero. Okay, we're here again. I can handle this. I'm going to do this, and really go home, write it down. Okay, here's what worked last time. Here's what didn't work. Here's how I'm going to approach this time. Be very conscious with yourself. Be very alert and aware of how you react to your triggers, when you are activated, when you go into a space that's not helpful, and do what you have to do to avoid that. And when you find yourself in that mess, and it might happen again, use what you've learned. Remember this, please. You are not your wake. We are not the wake. We are the ship. We have a right to be here. We have a right to be the grandest, most beautiful version of ourselves. We owe it to whatever divinity there is that we are a ball, a beautiful, boundless sphere of love and light, put here to have a life of experiences to take back to the Maker and add to the pot of love and light and experiences. That's what I believe anyway. Now we're here for a time to learn and to go back and give it back to pay it forward up there, wherever up there is, or down there, wherever it's going to be. Yeah, be the beautiful vessel that's going to guide you towards that North Star, and leave the wake behind you where it belongs. If you like this kind of thing, if it inspires you, if it engages you, like, subscribe, follow, share, and let's stay on this road of self-reflection, self-awareness, self-compassion, emotional intelligence, and loving the light and gift you are to the world. The world is better because you're in it. Stand in your greatness.